The wait is over. You were waiting, right?
Oh, God. No. Please, no.
The end is nigh. Darwin and Cat are back.
Books. Were they your friends? They were mine, and Cat's too. Sometimes our only friends. We could get lost in books all day during those long, humid stretches of summer when there was nothing else to do until Mom yelled, "Go outside and get some sunlight." You know, before algorithms, before trigger warnings, before anyone thought to ask whether children should maybe not be exposed to certain things, books were trusted in the hands of kids without any question. They promised adventure, knowledge, imagination, but sometimes delivered a hot, steaming bowl of trauma. Today's episode is about the books that scarred us and the realization years later that maybe no one was actually reading these books before letting or making us do so.
Get on the boat, weirdos.
John and Yoko scarred me forever.
Okay, so here we are talking about books. You're going to have to explain that.
All right, let me back up. The very moment I was able to read a real book on my own, I got The Beatles, an illustrated record. And I just sent you a picture of the book. It's like a big coffee table book.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. It's a classic. So I devoured this book, and I actually earned it too. I washed my mom's car every Saturday for 2 months to save up for it because I was Ringo obsessed, which as a drummer, Ringo was my gateway drug. This book was so great. It was big and glossy and packed with photos from the early days of like mop top album covers and studio shots to full psychedelic glory. It was part record guide, part biography, and just like my holy text. I carried it everywhere, not knowing that the Beatles had been broken up for a really long time. I thought they were just, I don't know, on vacation or something.
Okay, but I guess I'm not following. So how did this scar you?
Well, it was a certain page deep inside this book that, when I discovered it, absolutely wrecked me. Like actual night terrors. I just sent you the images.
I'm thinking before I open this message, and
Take
I
a
suddenly
look.
remembered what I think I'm good. I think I've had the misfortune. I think I know what you just, oh God, I don't need to see them naked again.
Yep, naked. From the album of Two Virgins, John and Yoko. Two virgins.
Well, yeah, I can see why. Why'd you do this to me? I thought we were friends. I saw this once in my life. I never need to see this again.
We are friends, but Darwin, I just wanted you to feel the horror that I felt as a 7-year-old when I saw John Lennon's sickly ferret dangling next to Yoko's enormous grandma bush.
You know, that's a perfect description. Imagine if this was the first naked picture like you had seen as an adult, like of somebody who's, grown, right? You know what I mean? Like you're growing up and you're like, you've never seen it. And then all of a sudden you see this and like her blouse clowns alone are enough to say no thanks for keeps. Like,
I'm pretty sure this was like the first naked people photo that I ever saw. So there's the front image that I described, but then there's the back image. There's the back shot, and it always perplexed me because John's got a way better girl booty than Yoko. I mean, he's got these nice little round cheeks.
thank you for sending that too. There it is. I see. And I appreciate you texting me the aardvark and dinner plates.
It's a great book, though, and it actually didn't scare me off the Beatles. That is my first book trauma. What scarred you?
I don't know if I can top this. I don't know. So when I was a kid, like there was a big thing with Pizza Hut. Book It.
Book It is a reading incentive program that encourages young people to read.
So the more books you read, you would get a free personal pan pizza. And I loved reading, and I was like scoring those free personal pan pizzas like boom, boom, boom,
yeah.
right? And this is probably the weirdest one, though, and the most common cause of trauma for Xennials and Millennials, okay? Where the Red Fern Grows by Wilson Rawls. You've heard of this, okay.
Oh, yeah.
But what's weird for me personally is my mother bought it for me. And usually I could pick whatever book I wanted. But Mom bought it. And she kept saying, did you read it yet? Have you read the book? Have you read the book? And I'm like, no. And then I finally started reading it and I was like, ugh. And once I got through it, I was like, Why did you make me read this? And so if you're not familiar with it, I know you are, but if someone's listening not familiar, basically Billy is the kid in this book, okay? And he's raising these two coon hounds, Old Dan and Little Ann.
There's a term you don't hear much in modern literature.
Coon hounds. And so they become this well-known hunting team of dogs, and they go on a hunt, and a mountain lion attacks, and Old Dan is protecting Billy, little Billy, and Old Dan's fatally wounded, right? And then he dies slowly, and it's described in detail how slowly he dies from these internal injuries. And then little Ann, heartbroken, dies of a broken heart later on. So he buries them together, and this red fern grows between them. You get like really sucked into these dogs, you know what I mean? And I got done with the book, and I'm like, the hell is mom doing to me? Like, why? She was so insistent. I don't think she read it. I don't think she had any idea. I think somebody told her, your kid has to read this book. This is a book every kid should read. And I don't think she had any idea. So I got done with the book. I wanted to be like, it's fucking depressing.
Mom,
I was like, oh,
do you even like me?
Do you want me to have seasonal affective disorder? Because that's what I have.
I have dog trauma literature too, and I will get to that. But
okay.
I thought I'd throw this in. So I took a test in the 4th grade, and it said I was at a very high reading level.
Nerd alert!
High school.
I believe it.
Well, it was weird because out of nowhere, I suddenly started scoring really high, but I was never an exceptional student back then. But this might explain why I hated all the reading books in my school. The teacher would try to get me to read like these really ancient Bobbsey Twins and Hardy Boys mystery books. And I was just like,
I love those. Nancy Drew.
Just like it wasn't for me. So I ventured out on my own, and I discovered V.C. Andrews' Flowers in the Attic.
Oh, I have the same book on my list. So let me hear your trauma first.
Okay, so horrifying. So if you're unfamiliar with this, Flowers in the Attic follows these 4 siblings, and they're hidden away in an attic by their terrible mother and even worse grandma. And at some point, one of the kids drops a baby down the stairs, and it's just horrifying. But of course, I finished the book. It was better than the Hardy Boys to me. But I was so scared by it, I tossed it in a sewer. So I wanted to say, I'm sorry, Palos Verdes, and possibly the entire Pacific Ocean, because I threw my copy of Flowers in the Attic straight into a storm drain.
It says that it may drain to the ocean, and you were like, good.
Bye.
So this book is one of 2 that I wanted to mention today that traumatized me that had an attic theme, which is kind of crazy. So let me go a little more to the description here, because you gave a brief overview.
Yeah, I didn't want to belabor the horribleness of it all.
Right. Well, so they're hidden in their grandparents' mansion, so their mother can reclaim the inheritance, right? So there's no kids. I'm taking all the money. And the mother gradually kind of abandons them and gets really wealthy and tries to erase that they exist. And then the grandmother starts giving these religious punishments and physical abuse and threats of mutilation, which are described in detail.
Searing detail.
And then the children are eventually poisoned with these arsenic-laced donuts. And it's the same donuts their mother brings as quote unquote treats. But this gets even messed up. Like, so Corey, that's the one that dies, right?
Yeah.
And then the older siblings, I can't believe this part really was the most messed up part of the book. Kathy and Chris start banging. They develop this sexual relationship because of isolation and trauma. Yeah. Okay. So let's review.
Yeah.
Child imprisonment and starvation and poisoning, right? Incest. And the betrayal of their mom abandoning them for money. So why was this book ever allowed?
Mom, I'm taking back that Mom of the Year mug you got for your birthday last year.
So yeah, that's messed up. That is so I can't even. What do you got?
Okay, the next book that scarred me was assigned to me. I did not seek this one out. I want to make that very clear. Call of the Wild by Jack London. It was required 8th grade reading, and I remember starting the book, and it was slow. The writing was heavy and relentlessly serious, but I'm like, okay, whatever, I can get through this. Then Jack London spends page after page explaining how you beat a dog. He described it in vivid detail, and I kept thinking, why? Why is this required reading? Who decided that this book would make 8th graders lifelong readers?
I never read that one, so I dodged a bullet.
Darwin, I can't even watch a movie or a show if I think harm will come to the kitty or the dog. And poor Eric, he sits there Googling, does anything happen to the schnauzer? Like as
That's
I'm
a good
sitting,
husband.
he's such a great husband. And I just sit there under a blanket going, is it okay? Can I look now? I have to build a blanket fort around me if I see an animal in any show.
So you're not going to be picking up Where the Red Fern Grows anytime soon?
And no.
So it's not called The Wild, but I have one that's adjacent to it, Hatchet. Did you ever read Hatchet, Gary Paulson?
No, I
That
don't know
calls
that
me-
one.
So the main character, the kid in the book, his name's Brian, which is also my first name. And it's this whole like thing. He survives a plane crash because the pilot dies mid-flight. And I forget why he's alone with this pilot on the plane, but whatever. And they crash land in the Canadian wilderness somewhere, and he needs to survive alone.
What does he like have to eat his own leg or something? Or
He does get hungry, and then there's a moose attack and a tornado, and this whole thinking I'm never going to be found, and so he goes back to the plane and has to dive into the wreckage to like find the survival kit. But let's just like this. They describe the pilot's death in detail. I remember reading it and just going like, my God. And then he goes back in the plane to get the rescue kit, and there's the pilot decaying. So by then he couldn't eat him. And what messed me up was like, it was a book whose character had my name, right?
yeah, that's messed up.
Like Brian is lost in the woods. Is that me? It could be me. Do I want to get on this plane?
Brian does not want to eat decaying bodies today.
Correct. So that book was like another one where it had like the seal on it, like the award, whatever friggin' award it won. I'm like, I don't care. No,
The
thank you.
miserable, depressing award.
Yes. What other books? What other books
All
have
right.
traumatized us?
All right, I'm just going to go through rapid fire a few. Animal Farm, George Orwell.
Wait. Really? That traumatized you?
Well, I loved the idea of talking animals, so good start.
Yeah.
And then the animals start confessing to crimes that they didn't commit, and then they get slaughtered in front of everyone. Super fun. At 11, I think the communist allegory went over my head, but the executions were crystal clear.
11. Well, okay. So that's where the trauma. Okay. I get that. I mean, I love the book. I love Animal Farm, but I also get that. So it's kind of a dystopia, like the
Dystopian animal sadness.
So I guess in that genre, The Giver by Lois, forget her last name.
The
Did you ever
Giver
read
is
The Giver?
by Lois Lowry, and it's a classic dystopian novel about a boy named Jonas.
Yes. So Jonas is in this society which has eliminated any pain or choice and basically memories. And it was this control called sameness. And so he's designated to be the receiver of memory, meaning they're going to give him all the reality. And he's the one person in charge of like remembering, the wars and everything. And he discovers like this term casually used by adults called release is actually a lethal injection. So his father euthanizes an infant baby.
Oh, jeez.
For being the less ideal. Do you remember this? Or did you ever read this book or you just heard about it?
No, I've only heard about it. I never had to read this one.
So he takes the other baby and tries to flee with it. Or there's another baby, scheduled for release, meaning to be euthanized. So this one, like, you got infanticide, which is just normalized in this book as an administrative task, right? So in Jonas, he gets memories, but he's also, when he gains the memories, they're memories only he is allowed to possess that are about war and death and starvation. And what a gift. What a great gift, right? So the ending, by the way,
Oh, yeah.
they leave it open-ended, very ambiguous, all right? So Jonas and the baby, they might be dying when they reach what's called elsewhere, wherever that is, but we don't know.
Oh, God.
We never find out.
What is elsewhere? We don't know. It's just Bummertown.
What else you got?
Forever, Judy Blume. I love Judy Blume. I'm a huge fan. Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret. Forever is a classic young adult novel about a 19-year-old girl named Catherine who has her first boyfriend.
Wait a minute. We had a Brian starving in the woods. Now we have Catherine.
See where I'm going.
Yep.
She gets a boyfriend and they're finally going to have like sexy time. And then we learn a disturbing truth. He has a dick named Ralph. And this scene is burned into my memory. Okay. So the boyfriend starts with, "Hey, Catherine, I'd like you to meet Ralph. Ralph, this is Catherine. She's a very good friend of mine." So then they're doing their thing. And Catherine says, "Did I do okay considering my lack of experience with Ralph?" "Hey, you did just fine. Ralph liked it a lot." I read this on the school bus and it kind of messed me up for the entire ride.
great.
I mean,
Wait.
it takes
I
place.
used to make jokes when I was a teenager about naming it Ralph. I had no idea.
You didn't
was
know?
the thing. I did not know. It was because I was naming it after the mouse in the mouse in the motorcycle by Beverly Clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a different kind of Ralph.
Yeah, I had. That's the thing.
Different kind of ride, really.
So I was confused her with Judy Blume. So I guess I was really. That was a real thing. I had no idea. So I accidentally.
Yeah. Judy
God.
Blume, Ralph. That's what your kids are reading, or at least back then.
By the way, didn't Judy Blume write like trashy romance novels for adults too, or did I make that up? Or was that
Yes,
Beverly?
yes. That was Wifey, and it was about a bored housewife who gets frisky and whacks off all day. And that one wrecked me too.
Did you read that one as a kid?
Oh yeah. Oh, right after Forever. I got off the school bus and then I read Wifey like an hour later.
You were enjoying it. Let's be
I
real.
really did. Okay.
Now, did she also write like Freckle Juice? Was that one of those two? Judy Blume. She wrote Freckle Juice.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Then again, maybe I won't. I think that was the one she wrote for boys. All right, here's a fun one, okay?
Okay.
The Jungle by Upton Sinclair. Now, it was assigned by the same maniacal 8th grade teacher who forced us to read Call of the Wild. And if you
This is something.
haven't read this page turner, The Jungle is a grim 1906 novel about immigrant workers trapped in brutal conditions of the Chicago meatpacking industry. And it's actually an important book because it led to major U.S. food and safety laws. But my language arts teacher must have delighted in assigning this one to kids. So let's break this one down. If you're into contaminated hot dogs, workers falling into machinery, child labor, and a nonstop parade of miserable animals, I highly recommend The Jungle. Bon appetit.
You know what? I just really enjoy. I do not assign this to my kids at all, my students, because it's one, they're not going to read it, but we do read excerpts from it. We do actually go through and talk about it, and they're like, "Oh, there's shit in the meat." I'm like, "Yeah, literally," and rat poison and Bob's thumb. It's great. He made you read the book.
Yeah, we read the entire The Jungle.
Oh, God, I had to do that when I was getting my master's, and I was like, and the best part was Upton Sinclair is still butthurt about it. He becomes really famous, but the book, it misfired. His intention was to prove socialism's better. And he's like, "No, I don't care about the meat. I don't care about these laws. Socialism." And everyone's like, "Okay, dude, shut up."
Yeah, but what
meat's
about the
bad.
lips and assholes in the hot dogs? And he's
Literally,
like, that's not the socialism.
Nice turd.
I just got to tell you this one. So
Okay.
I have one more. So I didn't have the kind of parents who would read to me before bedtime. They were exhausted. I'm the younger one. And also at the time in an Italian-American family, girls were kind of like, they don't need that book and school learning kind of stuff. But there was this one book that my mom said she was going to read to me. And she said, it's a good Italian book.
Oh, what was it?
It was the original Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi, which came out in 1883. And it's much darker than the Disney version. So she opens to the one part, and I settle into bed, and I'm so excited for a story. And then this happens. Pinocchio falls asleep with his wooden feet too close to a raging fire, and they burn completely off. And then,
Stop it.
And then
Stop it.
he wakes up, unable to walk, screaming in terror while Geppetto has to carve him new wooden feet. All right, bedtime. That was it. That was no. The original Pinocchio. Why did my mom not start from the beginning? She just opened it. Kid's not gonna. She won't notice.
I'm dying.
He had smoky little nubs at the end of that scene.
That explains a lot about you, Kat. I don't know.
Thank you. I feel very seen and heard now.
Oh, boy. Well, that explains a lot about us. I got a few more.
Yeah.
This one, again, it would be one where Eric would have to tell you we're not watching it.
Oh.
So right after I finished Redfern, my mother goes, "I got you another book." And I think she thought it was a sequel to Where the Red Fern Grows or something. And I'm like, oh God,
Great.
no. And it was called The Day No Pigs Would Die.
More miserable animals. Yay.
Yes. But by the title, you would think, oh, maybe the pigs will live, right? Maybe this is going to make up for
think
Where the Red Fern Grows.
Pigs are going to be really happy in this story.
Yay. You know, like Robert Newton Peck's the author on it. So I don't know. She'd been told, again, that it's a good follow-up for Redfern. What is this? Let's pile on more tragic animal deaths to me and all the kids in the 90s. Like, what the hell hell was wrong with like... Okay, so he grows up on a shaker farm, right? I don't know what the hell a shaker farm was back then, by the way. Did you?
No.
No. They were basically in the Albany area, actually, where they were like in some
Are
of the
they like
places where
kind of Mennonite-y and they make furniture and
they
jump around?
Shook. So they broke off from the Quakers who would quake when they prayed.
Quakers and Shakers. You're dropping some fresh rhymes there, bro.
Yeah, so I didn't know what that was. So his father's teaching to be stoic and a man, and he's got a beloved pig named Pinky.
No,
How original.
this is going to take a turn.
Well, Pinky is sterile, meaning Pinky can't, make more Pinkies. And she becomes a financial burden because you got to feed Pinky. So Rob's dad forces him to kill his own little best friend so they can eat her.
Jeez.
It's like, Pinky, you're delicious. And so then his father dies from exhaustion. And it's like, good, bye, bitch. But all of a sudden Rob has to be the adult. And by the way, the killing of Pinky is described in graphic, specific detail.
I do love pork chops, but no.
Yeah, awful. Did you ever have to read or see the movie Bridge to Terabithia? Terabithia, I know. Catherine Patterson book. So this is another one. This is another float in the parade of suffering too. So like Jess and Leslie, they're best buds and they create a magical kingdom in the woods. Sounds fun. It's make believe. We all did that, right?
Sure.
And they finally feel like they got friends for the first time in their life. They feel understood. Everything's great. And then Jess goes away on a trip with his teacher and Leslie. So the way you got to Terabithia was there was a rope swing over the river.
Okay.
What's going to happen?
Nothing dangerous there.
Nope. So Leslie decides she wants to go to Terabithia. Well, Jess is out of town and the rope snaps and she falls into the creek and she drowns and dies because she hit her head.
Great.
Yep. Lonely me, who had like no friends when I was really, like middle school, right?
Yeah.
Is reading this going, oh, cool. We got a friend. Yay.
For the
And then
first
the friend
time,
just
a
dies.
real friend.
Yep. And then dies, right?
That's
What
what happens when you make friends. You're thinking to yourself,
Yeah. Do I really want a friend? Am I
maybe
going to be
not.
the one that... Right, no. And then there's this whole like survivor guilt. Like, what? Ugh. God.
No kid
That
needs
was another
that.
one. And people are like, oh, I loved that book when I was... Shut up. Just shut up.
No, you didn't love that book. Oh, you didn't read that book. Okay.
No.
That's why you loved it.
I got one more. Yeah, I don't know if you have you any more or you got...
Hit me.
So this is the other attic book. Remember I mentioned earlier there was one that
Yeah.
was set. Yeah, okay. The one we talked about.
Nothing ever happy happens when a story takes place in an attic.
But I thought the basement was the problem part of the house.
I thought so too, but now I'm
Right.
realizing it's up there. That's
up
a
there.
problem.
It's the attic. Yeah.
Right.
So this was called Behind the Attic Wall. Behind the Attic Wall
Nothing
by
wrong here.
Sylvia Cassidy or something. All right. So this one starts off with an orphan, Maggie. And Maggie is sent to live with these like great aunts. And they've got this like, non-loving house and it's rules upon rules and whatever. So she goes up in the attic and she finds these two dolls, Miss Christabel and Miss Florina. And they're in this secret room in the attic. But the dolls are alive.
I am right behind you.
Okay. They're alive for her.
Nothing out of your ordinary here.
No, not at all. And they're very fragile, but they become her only source of like love and affection. All right.
Of course.
And the house has this dark history too. Like 5 years earlier, there was a fire that killed the aunt's sister and destroyed part of the house, but the dolls survived the fire, but they're kind of burned a little too.
Hey,
They're
we've all
singed.
been through stuff,
So the great aunts decide they're going to throw a party because Maggie has improved and grown up and whatnot. So Maggie decides she gets a beautiful dress. She wants to go see her friends in the attic, the dolls, right?
Sure.
And she wants to surprise them with a cupcake. And she comes up and the cupcake has a lit candle on it. And the dolls lose their shit. They panic.
They're like,
they start
The
screaming.
fuck you doing with a candle in my cupcake?
Right. The fire scared them. And the ants hear the noise and commotion and come running up to the attic. And the dolls go lifeless because they don't come to life for anybody except for Maggie.
Of course.
Right? And so they see Maggie with the candle and immediately think she's trying to burn down their house. So they're going to send her away. But the only guy that was nice to her in the house was Uncle Morris. I forgot to mention him. And so like right before she's leaving, she goes back to the attic and the dolls come back to life again to say goodbye. But then she notices there's a hat and a cane that matches her uncle's. And she realizes the dolls are the ants that burned to death before in the house. And that's why they were scared of the fire. Like,
that happens more often than you think, though.
what?
Hearing you talk about this book, I had a realization. Any story with great aunts, a mention of a torso, or an orphan, it's not going to be happy.
It's going nowhere good. Nowhere good at all. I got another thing about it. Like, did I really need all those panned pizzas that bad at Pizza Hut through Book It. Did I really?
Wasn't worth it, huh? Looking back.
Oh, it was not.
Hey, thanks for finding Darwin and Cat, Pop Culture Garbage Barge. If you like what you hear, please follow, like, tell a friend, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps us keep this barge afloat. And I can't say it enough. We truly, really appreciate you.
Although, now is a good time to mention that we are not liable for your therapy bills, especially after this episode.
Get on the boat and relive the pain. Helmet hair is rising like a hurricane. My cat's my best friend, and so is my bike. I'm chasing radio signals for any signs of life. Pop culture garbage barge, growing up weird made us who we are. Pop culture garbage barge, get on the boat, dork, and bring your emotional scars. Darwin and Cat on a garbage barge.